Welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. Oh boy, we are now past 100 episodes in this show, and we're celebrating by doing everything we do. Richard and I do this every 50 episodes. Richard and I sit down and record kind of an update episode. I don't know where it goes. We never script these things, and I got to tell you, it shows in this episode. We went way off the rails on a side quest that I am very distracted by even right now. I'm super glad I'm not looking at this. You're going to have to listen to the episode. I'm not going to tell you what it is now. It's just going to take up the whole introduction. But I want to introduce this episode to you with two things. Number one, if there's anything in this episode that inspires you, I want to hear about it because I want to do more of what serves you. And I want you in my world more. So if we can come together by what's inspiring you, great. If we make you laugh, if we make you cry, if there's anything that makes you feel like a better person when we're done, let me know what it is. And even more importantly, if there's someone's name who's coming to mind while you're listening to this, that's your clue to send this episode to them. Why? Because if their name comes to mind, then what you just got is an answer to a prayer that they have said. And this isn't just true for my podcast episode. It could be true for anything. Their name is coming to mind. That means that they are praying for what you're currently experiencing. I'm a firm believer in this. So if there's someone that comes up, share this episode. If this episode was shared with you by someone, tell them thanks. Thanks for thinking of you. Thanks for having your back. I hope you enjoy this episode with me and my amazing husband, Richard. Check it out. You don't like that movie, and it makes me sad.
I find it I just don't think it's very funny.
It's hilarious.
I know. So there are parts of it that are funny.
Like what?
I don't know. There's a couple of good one-liners in it. Overall, I don't know. It's not my type of humor.
You say that about Nacho and Napoleon Dynamite.
It's the same kind of humor.
And Mr. Bean.
Yeah, it's all the same kind of humor. I don't find that very funny.
And yet you like The Office. Like what?
Very different.
They're both all awkward situations. All of that is based on awkward situations. And it's the same. There's not breaking the fourth wall in like Nacho and Napoleon Dynamite, but
I still think The Office is very different humor from Nacho Libre.
Well, of course it is, but it's got similarities.
But it's very different, and I like The Office, and I don't like Nacho Libre.
I know.
Sorry,
it makes me sad.
I still watch it with you.
I know, but you don't laugh. My favorite part of watching a movie is laughing together, and if I'm the only one laughing, remember when we watched that movie the other night? Blended. What was it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
It's another.
yeah.
It's like Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore
Again.
It's
Yeah.
like 50 First Dates Part 2.
Right, exactly.
I fell asleep halfway through, but
No, that's generous. You didn't even make it half.
it was funny. I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
I was laughing, and you weren't.
And you know how that feels, though? You kept checking in on me like, don't you think this is funny?
Well, yeah, because I wanted to make sure that you were enjoying the movie.
And if I wasn't?
Then I would feel bad for you, but that doesn't make it less funny for me. As soon as you were like, it's okay, I just enjoy being with you and all that, and then I was like, okay, great, let's watch this movie.
I want to laugh at it with you. My goal is to find things that we can laugh at together, which is why Instagram Reels are a late night date night.
I love it. Yeah.
So we are in our 100th episode.
Ish, yeah. It's like 102 or something like that.
Well,
but yeah.
Yeah. We're celebrating our 100th
We made it to 100.
Yes.
Very different from episode 1.
Very different from episode 1. Very different. This backdrop is different. The studio is different. The house is the same. But it's been a wild ride.
It has been a wild ride. And it's been just about a year, a little over a year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We started in February of last year, and today I think is March 1st.
March 1st, yeah.
So
yeah, how crazy is that?
Took about a year to do 100 episodes.
Has it been fun for you?
Yeah.
Really?
I think this has been great.
It's been really cool to be able to spend time with people that I don't know that I would have had a platform to spend time with them otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really easy to, like when we had Ben Care over, I was like, oh man, I've been wanting to reconnect with that guy forever. What's the perfect excuse? Podcast.
Yeah.
Let's bring him over. And we talk about that a lot when we're podcasting. Like, that's a perfect way to connect and re-network with people. And
yeah. I hate to ask the question of like favorites because I don't want to play favorites, but what have been some highlight guests and episodes
You
for
said
you?
favorites without saying favorites. Now everyone's going to know that what it might.
It's not favorites, but what have been some ones that have stood out to you?
Oh gosh, I loved having that conversation with Keaton. It
That
was
was a
really
good one.
cool. Yeah, really cool to talk events with Keaton. I'd love to have him on for part 2. In fact, I've had 2 people request. 2 guests that have been requested for part 2. Ben has already been requested for a part 2.
Already.
Okay. People are requesting a part 2 from Ben. And I got a request from Janae for a part 2.
Oh, yeah. She was one of the early guests. She was
very early guest.
She was like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah. Yeah. We started in our bedroom studio and then we're like, maybe we shouldn't bring guests
into our room.
I think we bought one of my friends because like she's my best friend. It wasn't a big deal.
The nanny kept being like, why are you setting up cameras in your bedroom?
Oh my gosh. She didn't say anything. But she said something without saying something, you know.
There's tripods and cameras and light boxes and
why?
Why?
Did you ever end
We're
up
shooting a podcast, okay?
She's like, what kind of podcast? No, that didn't happen. That conversation didn't happen. Oh my gosh. Nope. So highlights. Ben was amazing. Keaton's been amazing. I really enjoyed talking to Michelle. It was really good to reconnect with her. Hope was awesome. And in fact, she and I have reconnected since then and we're like building really cool stuff now.
I should do a part 2 for her with
really
her to
should.
be able to do
We talked about that for a launch for the
women thing.
The women's someone called it a round table. I liked that because the word mastermind has been used and abused so much. So the women's round table, we really should do a podcast. In fact, I think I talked to her about that and said we should do that as part of our launch.
Yeah.
Hope was awesome. I've learned so many things. And the really cool thing about doing the podcast is that I don't remember exactly who I've learned what from. So I'm sorry if I can't give credit where credit is due, but I've just learned so many cool things from everyone that's come on. I was talking, do you remember Cynthia? She taught about the power of sleeping alone. And that
was interesting.
It really teased my curiosity. Like I listened to Simon Sinek the other day, and Simon, this is your official call, wanting on the show. I was listening to Simon the other day, and I don't agree with everything that he says, but I agree with a lot of the things that he says, which it's a phrase I stole from him actually, because I found it to be so true. But when I was listening to this episode of him on this leadership podcast I listened to, he said that when we sit down and chat with someone. There's 2 things he said about podcasting that I 100% agree with. And I was like, I feel so validated that you said what I've been saying. Number 1 is to deliberately not unprepare, but not prepare. And it takes some skill to do this. If you go into a podcast episode and you are unprepared, or I think better said, unscripted, that's my preference. I have been as a guest on a podcast, and these podcast hosts like to tease the questions a little bit beforehand. And I don't like that so much for my podcast. I don't do that because I want to be so interested in what we're talking about that I don't need a script. I don't need questions. And I feel that's much better and much more organic. I also feel like doing your due diligence on the person and having the skill to be a proper host. So you're not asking fruitless questions on the show. Like, where are you from? It's like those dumb questions that you ask on a first dance, you know, like, what's your favorite color? Where are you from? Nobody cares. But I like genuine curiosity. And I like to know enough about the person to be curious about something about them. Yeah. So that was thing number 1 from Simon. He's not even a guest on the show, and I'm diving deep on this. One day, I put it into the universe on Threads the other day. The second thing that he said that I really liked was when I'm trying to remember. I just lost my train of thought. I'll have to come back to it. But this episode with him was really inspiring because I remember what it was. When you're in a podcast and you have differing points of view, the ability to be open to being wrong is what really creates a valuable conversation. It's a skill that I'm trying to get really good at. I'm not often very good at it, as you can probably attest. But I like...
I don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, okay. You just want to get laid. That's why you're playing it safe. Okay, so... But this is something I also learned from David Sentner, is I want you to be able to explain why you believe the way that you do. I don't have to agree with it, but I want you to be able to back up your own beliefs. And if you can't back up your own beliefs, then that's a problem, because now you don't even know why you believe the way that you do. And that's a challenge. And when someone picks me apart and says, you have this belief or you have this stance or you said this controversial thing online, and I want to challenge it, I like being challenged on that in a really open debate kind of environment, because it allows me to question myself and say, am I concrete in this? Or have I not considered something in this? And if I'm wrong, can I upgrade? That's where the upgrades happen, is when I can learn where I'm wrong and then break the status quo of my own systems.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good one.
Joe Rogan talks about that too.
He does, and he does a really good job of this.
He talks about how he really likes to be able to dive into people and why they think the way they think.
Right. And not challenging, like not going to war.
Not going to war, just being genuinely curious about you as a person and why do you think the way you think?
Mm-hmm.
How did you grow up? Like, what led you to having the belief system that you do? What led you to thinking the way you do?
Yeah.
And that's why I love listening to Joe. It's not the topics that he covers. It's not about aliens and UFOs. It's interesting stuff, but I love that he just really dives into people, and like, you can tell it's a genuine conversation.
Yeah, it's unscripted.
Yeah.
That's what I felt with Lamont when we had him on the show, because I disagreed with a lot of what he was saying. I didn't tell him, like, I disagree with you. But I knew that if I would have, it would have been fine. But that wasn't the point. The point wasn't to disagree. The point was, like, I don't see level with you on this. I see a different perspective on this. Tell me why you're coming at this the way that you are. We were having the conversation between right and wrong.
Yeah.
And it made me question, because a lot of my actions and my beliefs come because of feelings, which are hard to explain sometimes. You've come at me sometimes, but why? I'm like, it's a feeling. And I have a hard time justifying to another person a feeling, but I've also come to trust my feelings so much. I trust my gut so much. And sometimes the only explanation that I have is I'm trusting my gut.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't explain my gut to you, but I 100% believe in my gut feelings, right? So we were talking about right and wrong on Lamont's episode, and fundamental right and wrong, and is there a fundamental right and wrong? And I was like, in my brain, I felt like, oh my gosh, there has to be fundamental right and wrong.
Yeah.
But then we got down to it. I'm like, okay, let's take a really blatant, obvious example of right and wrong in this murder topic, right? And then but what about war? Is murder justified in war? And I was like, well, then is it murder? And all of these things. So the ability to pick at it and go back and forth, I think that takes a lot of training to be able to do. It takes a lot of laying safe groundwork in any conversation, not just on a podcast, but in a marriage like ours, in a parent-child situation, in a friendship situation, being able to lay the groundwork of trust and love so strongly that you can have those conversations and it doesn't become, it can get heated, it can get emotional, but it's not attacking or defensive, right? It's about the idea, not about the person. So gosh, I have so many highlights. I really loved my conversation with January.
Oh yeah,
that was a really good one. I loved that episode. I have a few guests lined up that I'm really excited about. I've got Corbin Allred, who's agreed to come on the show. We're going to go to Arizona next week. Can you believe that's next week?
That's next week.
Right? Might be 2 weeks today. Well, it's 2 weeks away.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Next week is the mastermind that we're going to.
Yes, and the week after that.
We're going to a wedding.
So I've got Carlos and Sal that are coming on the show. I've got two amazing people that Jeffrey introduced me to, and then I am stoked to be able to interview the Patriot Barbie.
That's going to be great.
I am so excited. Like, I feel like I want to be best friends.
So we have 5 people we're interviewing that day.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big day.
It's going to be a big, long day. Lots of
day.
water.
Yes.
Lots of potty breaks. So thank you to Carlos and Sal for letting us use your studio while
be
we're down
great.
in Arizona. We should just get with them. Oh, we got to order a backdrop too, so we can pack that up and take it with us. So
Cool.
a couple things we got to do there. But how about you? Do you listen to every episode, or do you? I'm about to out you right now, huh?
I don't listen to every episode. So if it's recorded live in person, right? Of course I listen because I'm here. I'm
Okay.
recording it.
Yeah.
If it's a remote podcast, I don't listen to all of it.
It's okay. Forgive you.
I listen to most of it.
I don't read books cover to cover. So.
And I'm editing, right?
Yeah.
I listen to it while I edit. And I don't edit a lot in the middle.
Yeah. I don't need you to.
Many of you know, right? I don't. I edit the beginning to be able to splice in the intro,
Mm-hmm.
and then we put in a commercial break. This is probably a good spot for a commercial break. Boom.
And commercial break.
Hey, what's up? Marianne Hickman here. Listen, I'm interrupting my own show because I want to give you something. Now, you guys all want to get on more stages. I got a free resource for you of stages that are just clamoring for guests. They need guests on a daily, weekly, sometimes monthly basis. This is my podcast database. Now, what I'm going to do is have you go to mariannehickman.com/database. Once you put in your information there, I'm going to send this to you totally for free. Open up this database. You're going to click through it, find the next podcast that's relevant to your topic, hit the application button, show up on their podcast, get in front of their people, and share your content. Remember, mariannehickman.com/database. Let's get you unlocked.
And we're back.
I
love the power of television.
and then I put in the outro. So, yeah, that's and I'll still listen to a bunch of it to make sure that the audio's okay and stuff like that.
Sure.
I've messed up
Still
a couple
spot
of
check it.
times, but I usually try and spot check throughout it and listen to a good amount of it. But I really, really enjoyed getting to know Sean Finnegan through that podcast.
Yeah, Sean's
Like we already
episode.
knew Sean, but like we got to know Sean really well.
I want to do another one with him because
That
he
would
just
be-
did another episode with somebody else and it was like super emotional. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
we didn't even talk about that.
So that was a
Sean.
good one. And then Scott Donnell was a good episode.
That was a really good one too. Gosh, they were all so good.
And then what else?
We did a steak hand. She was one of the most popular episodes.
That was one of the. In fact, I'm gonna pull out my phone.
She was
I'm
the
gonna break the rule.
quantum physics of manifesting.
Yeah.
That was one of the most popular episodes that we have recorded
For a while.
Yeah, at the very beginning. I think she was the second or third episode we'd ever done, and I think I just met her on Facebook. It's really cool to just get to know her, and she is like,
Oh no.
it was really cool because her name is not a household name, right?
Yeah.
But her episode was so popular, and I think it was because of the content. Maybe she shared it. I don't know, but it took off like crazy. So, like,
So number one.
okay, this is a good.
This is still. It's still Scott Donnell.
Scott Donnell's the number one episode.
And then
so glad that he
Keaton.
came on. Scott and then Keaton. Okay.
So, but we have different stats because we do this a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
Because we post to Spotify, but then we also post to
We're on YouTube and everywhere.
YouTube.
and
So let me
Apple
see if I can.
Podcasts.
Here we go.
If you're an
Switch
Apple
account.
podcaster. I don't get why people still call podcast views downloads because nobody downloads podcasts anymore.
No.
I'm so confused when people are like, I got 57 downloads. I'm like, but people don't download podcasts. Are you talking about listens? You got to be talking about views. I don't get it.
Okay.
What are you on right now?
The
What platform
top.
are you on?
I'm on. Wow. Oh wait, that's okay. Lifetime.
Are you on YouTube?
YouTube. Este Cans is still number one,
Este is still number one.
and then number
Oh,
two is.
I thought it was Scott for number two.
I think it's still Scott.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So Scott was a really big episode.
Yeah.
So that's good.
What are some gold nuggets other than like stats and all that fun stuff? I know you're the brainiac behind there. But
Well,
what's
and
some
then
gold nuggets.
the really cool gold nugget is that we were in the top 25% of Spotify video podcasts.
That was cool.
That was cool. We
I
talked
was-
about
we got
that in
our-
our year-end wrap-up.
yeah, yeah. It was kinda
But
neat.
that was really cool. Gold nuggets for me. I think for me, it's mostly been on the back end, right, of how to do this. Just the nature of trying to kind of follow a little bit of It's been interesting trying to blend a
I wonder if
couple
that
of.
burp got caught on
I
the
know, right?
microphone.
That was a
Kinda
good
hope it
burp.
did.
A couple of different episodes or podcasts. So we've tried to kind of blend. We really took a lot of things from Jimmy's podcast. We took a lot of things from Joe Rogan's podcast and kind of created our own here. And I've really enjoyed the way that we've kind of done this with adding in the talk tips.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's been getting more and more fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check and see if we had any questions. We put a lot
Yeah,
of
we put out a big blast
We
to
texted a
everybody
bunch of
here,
people.
and yeah, I'll look for
No.
some good
Oh,
questions
you
too.
know what's sad is that we had some people go out. That's okay.
That's all right.
I'm just sad to see people go. Oh, sad. That's all right. Connor says congrats. Thank you, Connor DeLynn, for that. Let's see. Oh, that's already read. Okay. I have to click unread and see if we got any good ones. Let's see. Samantha says congrats and loved it. Okay, this one's from Michael Katz. He said it would be interesting to also talk about what we could do with 100 episodes. Oh, I think we're just supposed to have a conversation. We 100% should. I'm going to leave that marked as unread. This one says, thank you for talking to my staff. We will respond to you after we get back in town. That's
Lots
great.
of congrats.
That's awesome. Okay. I guess we're just so transparent. Everyone already knows everything about us and they don't care to ask anymore.
What has been your biggest takeaway from doing this 100 episodes?
You know, my biggest takeaway from having crossed the 100 episodes line is that it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. When we were first starting the idea of the podcast, I remember my first sticky note of all of the people that are like, I need to think of people I need to have on the show. And it was like 7 people that I could list out, and mostly our friends, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Jeremy was one of those.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
another really good episode.
That
I
was
was crying on that
that was a
episode.
really good one.
Oh,
And Tony's was a good one
Tony's
too.
was
Sorry.
really good. Tony's was awesome. So when I got through that list, and I don't think I called everybody on that list, but it was just the first brain dump. And actually anyone on that list, no one on that list that I have had on the show was within 8 months of even writing that list. And I mean, I wrote the list and I started that. What doing the list did was give me the gumption to reach out to people. So when I started reaching out to people, it kind of just snowballed. And I love the people that I have met from doing the podcast. Our relationship with Sean wouldn't be what it is
No,
today if
it
we
wouldn't.
hadn't been able to have him on a show,
Yeah.
right? Same with my relationship with Keaton and my relationship with Hope. There's been businesses born from this, either directly like Hope and I are doing, or indirectly from the people that we've met through people that we've had on the show. And just being able to do that, and then also being able to teach people, because now I see, especially on Threads, people starting like, I want to start a podcast. And I just go on there and say, hell yeah, I just started. I'm cheering them on. But then just what I see a lot of the time is people will start to get analysis paralysis with getting the right equipment going. Guys, we didn't have this to begin with. If you've seen before I go anymore, I have to say thank you to you. Now, I know that you can't tell that I'm talking to you right now, and I don't know your name right now, but I probably do if you were to text me and say, hey, you were talking to me. But you have been with us since the very beginning. If you have been watching our episodes and watching our podcast and watching us when we were really sucky at it and we first started, thanks for sticking with us. And if this is your first episode, thank you for joining our family. Thank you for joining our podcast family and the people that are here. Our goal with this podcast is to introduce the people that I think are cool to you. I want to make introductions. That's what Sean's really good at. That's what a couple of other people I know are really, really good at, is just connecting people. I was talking to someone this week about the power of these connections and how no business gets built unless you know somebody, right? You don't bring on a business partner that you don't know.
Mm-mm.
You don't bring on a sales rep that at least you haven't interviewed. And chances are, if you know one, you're going to bring them on first. So the bigger you can expand your network and the deeper those relationships can be, the more you're going to grow. That's just point blank. So I have to say, thank you for being here. And thank you for being part of what we do. What was I saying before that? I got distracted with that.
I don't remember. We were just talking about good moments on the podcast
Oh,
and
it's
so forth.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, the networking. So
yes,
the networking capabilities of it, the businesses that have been born both directly and indirectly from it, just incredible. I want to talk about the sucky parts though, because the wins are really fun, but they don't teach us much.
yeah,
You know, I like I was saying, I'm really grateful to the people on Threads that are starting podcasts. I'm really grateful to be able to teach people, and like I said, remove analysis paralysis and just get them going. Just record your episodes, just put it out there, figure it out along the way, guys. None of us think about this. None of us has ever done this day before. Everyone is new to this day. Everyone is new to this moment. You might not be new to the circumstance that's in the moment, but you're new to this moment. This is the first time you're doing this moment. That's it. So all of us have something to learn. So the happiest you're going to be is when you stop comparing yourself to our 100th episode or your 10th episode or your 50th episode or 500th episode. What my favorite thing to do is take pages from people who I admire and say, what do I admire about that person? Whether it's their podcast or their marriage or their family dynamic or their house decor or whatever. What do I like about that? And I'm going to make that page my own. And if we all do this, we all end up with this unique playbook for how we do life. And we take the best pages from everybody else around us, which is why we need to surround ourselves with higher caliber people so we get better content for our lives.
yeah.
I'm really excited to have David and Layla on.
That'll be great.
That's going to be
It'll be a really good episode.
kick-ass episode. Kick-ass episode. So, yeah. But I want to hear what your deepest struggles in, and I don't want you to hold back. I want you to talk about the nitty-gritty, hard,
Of
like
the podcast?
yeah, or even like our business over the last year and a half. There's been some hard parts.
The irony of this, the hardest part sometimes is getting you to record.
Toss.
The scheduling. The scheduling is the hard part because, yeah, we're both running businesses.
Uh-huh.
You're running your speaking business. I'm running my CRM agency.
Uh-huh.
And then we have this family that we're also raising and our marriage and everything in between. And so, you know, we missed a talk tip this week.
Yep.
We
We
did.
sure did. And you know what we did instead?
We took care of sick kids.
We took care of sick, puking children and 11 new puppies.
Yep. That's what we did.
That's what we did, and that's what we should be doing.
But I think that for me, as like the producer, right? For me, the anxiety comes when it's like, oh my gosh, we don't have another episode.
But even though we have 6 in the hopper.
We don't have the next episode. But I'm talking talk tips.
Oh,
right?
and talk tips, yeah.
We're gonna miss an episode. Like that's the anxiety that I feel.
Yeah.
That's the hard part for me sometimes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? It's just life. Life gets in the way sometimes, and so.
But at the same time, it gets in the way because it's a priority.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, the
yeah.
priority this week was greater
Was
than
taking
recording.
care of the kids.
Exactly. Take
Yeah.
care of the kids, especially when we don't have help this week.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all puking and hugging toilet bowls all week long. And that's where we should have been.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
today we went to the farm at Thanksgiving Point before we did our podcast because that was a priority. And this, I got to tell you, babe, I wake up more and more often to a life that I love living.
And
I
that's
wake
what's
up.
important.
That's the goal is, and I talked about this on the Master I Have call the other day, is living in harmony where you love the music that you listen to, the orchestra of your life, all of these parts that they play different parts where, you know, the kids get to be loud and in charge and take over the music sometimes. And then when they're all taken care of, the business is a loud part. Like right now, we took care of our family. We took care of our needs. After this, we're going to go make dinner. It's going to be great. But right now, this is the priority. We're here.
Yep.
And we know it's the priority because we're here. If something, like if, God forbid, knock on wood, if like someone came to the door and there's got bone exposed and bloody,
Oh.
you know, like shut
Turn
this
off
down.
the camera.
We're
Going.
done.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't matter.
And more and more and more, I'm getting better at playing this song. The song of our life that we live. And I just hope that your music is as pretty as mine.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
There's just sometimes the anxiety over the music.
Yeah, that happens.
But anyway, that's been a challenge for me. Sometimes the challenge is just finding the time to do it all, right? That's been a limiting belief that I've dealt with a lot. Is
It's
I don't
time.
I don't have the time.
Mm.
So, but that's why I push myself now. Most days I'm up at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get a lot done
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of editing that needs to be done. There's a lot of email content that needs to be written. There's a lot of drip campaigns that need to be built. There's a lot of everything.
Yeah.
Everything that needs to be done. So
It makes me laugh because when we were at Thanksgiving Point today, you built that little thing. You built this little box for no reason.
it's just fun.
It was really cute. You built it for fun with that not function. And you were so intent on it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna do it.
Like your engineer mind was going nuts, and then you tested it and it didn't work, and you're like, go over and get that wing nut and building this thing. And it, in my brain, I had this like existential moment where I'm like, that's how he builds everything.
What do you mean?
It has to have an element of fun for you.
Oh yeah. If it wasn't fun, then like why do it?
Exactly. Your brain loves to solve these little problems
Yeah.
and figure them out. And it was really entertaining to watch you do that with Addie and watch you build that together. I took a video of you. It's really cute.
You sent it. I saw
Yeah.
it. It was
You
good.
saw it?
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, yeah, you sent it, so I saw it.
Well, I know that we both have unread text messages.
Oh,
so-
yeah. I'm up to. I'm so
It's not a
bad.
competition. It's not a competition.
I'm 130 unread text messages right
Babe.
now. Yeah, it's bad.
Is there the one thread that you can click on that you know will make half of them disappear?
No.
Really?
There's not. No.
I have one of those.
No. But, well, we got 2 questions.
Oh, we did?
You ready?
Yeah.
The first one is Christy wants to know how I proposed.
Oh, cute. Do you want me to tell her? Do you want to tell her?
You tell it.
Do you want to tell it? Okay.
You tell the story.
Okay. So it was close enough to Halloween that we went to a party where you dress up, and like it was that time of year, right?
Yeah.
End of September. And this was actually a birthday party, and I have to thank the birthday boy for letting us hijack his party because we kind of totally did.
We had permission.
We had permission. It was pre-planned. And in my brain, chronologically, I remember we were living in Payson at the time, and I remember you walking a lot in the backyard, back and forth on the phone
Oh, interesting.
by
Okay.
yourself. Came to find out later that was when the planning happened.
Yeah.
So then we went to this birthday party, and you and I had just started watching Game of Thrones. So I was past that terribly awful first episode, hated it, but I stuck with it enough to enjoy the storyline despite all the garbage you have to wade through to get there. For those, if you know, you know, enough to the point where like, okay, let's dress up as these Jon Snow and Khaleesi characters from Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
I was just going to leave it for a second and see how much hate I got. So I remember also then going to Tailor Made over in Provo and getting the costume and also buying the wig, the blonde
The
wig,
blonde wig
right?
to wear.
And I brought it home, and I tried it on, the costume with the wig and without the wig, and I was like, babe, which one should I do? And you're like, definitely without the wig. And something about the way that you said that, you probably don't even remember. Something about the way you said that to me was like, he's really adamant about this. And now I know that it was like, oh, he's planning on having a moment that's going to get photographed, and he doesn't want me to look like an idiot. So thank you for saying no to the wig.
It had nothing to. I was not thinking that far ahead.
Well,
You just looked better without the wig.
I
You're
figured
giving
it
me
was
way too much
It
credit.
was like
You just looked better without the wig.
It was so bad. It was an awful
The wig was not
wig.
great.
Oh, it was cringy.
You're giving me way too much credit.
But I thank you. I thank you for not letting me do that. So we go to this party, and it's a beautiful party. There's like a charcuterie, and it's this medieval style dinner, and everyone's dressed up in their medieval, attire. And there was it's like a murder mystery company had been invited to come do a murder mystery
Yeah.
thing. And the leader of the company, the group that was doing this murder mystery dinner, which I don't even ever think we ever solved the murder mystery. I think
I don't know.
I
don't
don't remember that happening. I think it just ended.
No, I'm sure that they finished.
Really? Because I was not cognizant of it.
Well, no, based on what happened. Of course not. You were thinking about the big old rock on your finger.
I was. So the orchestrator, the main guy who was talking. The narrator, thank you. The narrator was talking, and then he picked on you. And he's like, do you love this girl? I remember him asking, like drilling that.
He was drilling
Do you
me.
love her? Do you love her? And I was like, is this part of the story? Like, why is he, is he not saying yes good enough? Is there some doubt about this? And every time you're like so adamant about it, I'm like, I know, he loves me. Keep saying it. Keep saying it.
Keep saying it.
So then he said something like, prove it. And then he invited me to come over, and that's when my palms started to get sweaty. And I was like, I think I know what's about to happen right now. And then you got down on one knee, and I will be like, I'm not embarrassed very easily. And being proposed to was not the embarrassing part. The embarrassing part was
being dressed as Khaleesi.
No, that was fine because I didn't have the wig. The embarrassing part was when you got on one knee, and I knew what was happening. You popped the question. Before I said yes, I snatched that ring out of your finger and put it on. Because it wasn't about the rock. It was about like, put this ring on my finger because I want to be yours forever. And I was like, yes. I remember like grabbing it and I was like, oh, that's really embarrassing. I like fumbled. It was really cute. And then like kissing you. We have that picture on our Google in the kitchen. That was really beautiful. And then everybody said yes. And then to top it off, good old Stephen Michael Miller gets up because he's dressed up as a friar. And he's like, all right, let's do this right now.
Right now.
It was so funny. Oh my gosh. And the rest of the night is a blur. The other thing I remember about that night was eating beef. What was it? Beef bone marrow out of the bone.
We ate marrow out of the bones.
Pretty cool dinner.
It was good.
It was a really cool dinner. But that's how I want to hear anything that I missed from your side of the story.
No, I'm like, yeah, that's
from your perspective though, like, because I remember you said you were afraid that you were going to show me the ring on accident or something because it was in your pocket all day.
I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
No.
Your poor memory.
I know. I don't remember things very well, but yeah, I mean, that's what I remember. It was good. It was fun. It was great. Yes.
I almost.
That was great.
The only thing that kept that water going down so painfully was not wanting to destroy the studio equipment by doing a spit take on you. I can't believe that's how you summed up our proposal.
No, I mean,
That's good.
I don't know what else to say is what I'm saying. Like that you covered everything.
Were you nervous?
Well, yes, of course, but
well, you knew I was going to say yes.
But I
knew you. About getting married.
I knew you were going to say yes. Of course I knew. I already knew.
So what are you nervous about?
You don't ask that question unless you know the answer is going to be yes.
Oh my gosh.
You can look up on Instagram, of course, and YouTube. There's some examples of some people who
popped the question without knowing.
And I feel bad for those people, but
it's great content though.
I am the type of person that I was not going to ask unless I knew you were going to say yes.
Was I impatient about you proposing to me?
No.
No? I wasn't impatient?
No.
Patting myself on the back for those of you listening and not watching. Man, because we met in the time of COVID.
Yeah, so our dating was very sped up because during COVID we couldn't go do anything, and we both worked from home, and so we just worked from home together and then hung out together. Like we were together all day, every day. And so it's like it wasn't very typical dating.
No, it was atypical dating.
Very, very atypical because we were together all the time. We started COVID started really kicked off in March of 2020 is when the lockdown started, and we met in April.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were together all day, every day, and we couldn't go do anything. The kids were not allowed to go to school even. So I just hung out at your house all day, every day. I brought my laptop and I just worked. I worked from home already, even before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was a work from home employee. And so I just was like, well, I'll just work over at her house. And
I remember the first day you came over and we were sitting on the hammock and you're like, I liked today. Can I come back again tomorrow? And I was like, yes.
yeah.
Yes, you can. Ask me that every day. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. We got to know each other very quickly, very well, because we spent all the time together.
Yeah. I think I was listening to, gosh, I can't remember what, but I've heard this a couple times when you talk about the hours that it takes to build up expertise. Malcolm Gladwell talks about this.
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. I think that's true for relationships too. And I think the hours are different. There's someone that has organized the hours in terms of acquaintance to friend to best friend to whatever. And if you think about it in terms of that, our hours together.
Oh yeah, was
You know,
exponentially increased because
Yeah.
of COVID.
Yeah. And I think some people have gotten married with fewer hours than we had 3 months in.
Oh
Of
yeah.
just time and exposure
I mean,
to
we
each
live
other.
in Utah County.
Yeah, that's true.
There
That's
are
a bad
people,
example.
There are people in this county who get married after only having spent a couple dozen hours together.
Which is a problem because then you don't know how they load the dishwasher.
Is that still an issue for you?
No, because you don't do the dishes, so it's
That's
fine.
true. I don't do the dishes. I don't like doing the dishes. I just don't.
Are there any chores that you do like? Oh, I hope you capture this dead air silence. So good. Could you highlight dead air? Can you
Chores that I like.
Yeah. Is there anything that you just find fulfillment doing?
I mean, when I have a project, I like those. I like projects.
But not like the repetitive chores.
Not the repetitive chores, no.
I love how you got up this morning because I write that honeydew list.
Yep, you wrote the honeydews
your
on the
board.
list, and I woke up and I was like, okay, it's Saturday. And I busted it out and I was done.
I got
got everything on the honeydew list done.
I was so stoked at how well that worked. It was awesome. I was like, ooh, this is getting done and this is getting, and I could do all those things.
You could, and what's funny is the only thing, let's see, you asked me to put up shelves. You asked me to hang the plant and put up you might have asked me to put the tops on the
Fence posts?
on the fence posts. I don't specifically recall you asking me to do that. It's been on the back of my mind as something that
And on the
needs to
front
be
of the
done.
porch.
But hasn't been like a specific hey, will you go do this?
Yeah.
Right? But then you put it on the list and it's like, oh, I've got a checkbox.
I got excited.
I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
I might be using that system again.
Okay.
It made me so happy.
Just don't overwhelm it.
There were 3 things on there.
No, 3 things is great.
Yeah.
Just don't start my Saturday with 10 things on my list.
Well, I can't if you keep chipping away at it. So I've been wanting you to hang those shelves in Jerem's room probably for 6 months.
And you know what's funny? I don't recall you ever asking
That's
me.
because your memory is so terrible. I have
I know,
asked
I'm
you
not great.
2 or 3 times, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm at risk of sounding like a nag because I keep asking, because it keeps not getting done, because he's got a terrible memory, but then I feel like a nag, and he doesn't like it when I feel like a nag, so
Just put it on the honeydew
Put it on the
list.
list.
There you go. There you go.
What was the other question?
The other question was from Jonathan Dean.
Hey, what's up, Jonathan?
He wants an update on the goat.
Oh, the goat.
The goat.
Oh, okay. So that was last summer.
Yeah, I think it was
I,
June. I think it was June.
I'm really sad about that. We did this challenge that I failed. Yeah, okay. 3493. I did this challenge last summer when challenges are really big. Oh, that reminds me, Gone Dakers. I need to have her on my podcast. She said yes, and we have to book a time. So I saw this challenge on Instagram, several of them. It was the big thing last summer to say, I'm going to do this kind of a video every day until this,
Until
earn
10,000
this thing.
and 10,000 followers.
Yeah, 10,000 followers.
That was the big thing.
Yeah, and I'm going to drink a cup of coffee in front of a tractor every day until I get 10,000 followers. Or I'm going to, crush a can different way every day until I get 10,000 followers. That was a big thing last summer.
It was also the rise of Tim Nakai I'm really sad you don't know who he is.
I know.
Shout out to Tintin Bust.
Tintin Bust?
You don't know? You don't even know when I say Tintin Bust?
I'm sorry.
He kind of followed the same trend, and he said, I'm going to bet 1 cent for every follower on
the
Instagram.
Blackjack guy.
on
If you
Blackjack.
just said the blackjack guy, I would have known what you meant.
Tintin Bust.
Okay. Well, now I know because you and I do watch him. You more
He's
than me.
hilarious. I love him.
He's so crass.
Every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, what happened?
This is our sense of humor difference because I enjoy the Jack Black, Mr. Bean, and you're like, make it really dirty. If Mr. Bean was just dirtier, he'd be funny. Like, more inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can't defend yourself. It's fine.
I like inappropriate humor, I guess.
Well, I do too, to a point.
Well, and Tintin Bust is not very well. Okay,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Let's be honest.
All right.
Okay. So here's the update on the go.
Back to Jonathan's
Sorry.
question. Sorry.
So, okay. This deserves a little bit of a backstory, though. So I'm about to put a target on our back a little bit. Maybe our HOA doesn't listen to our podcast.
Probably not.
Probably not. So we live in a community that has an HOA.
Screw you, HOA.
1 star. Do not recommend.
Half a star.
Can you put a half a star?
0 stars.
If you could put 0 stars on a rating.
Our HOA sucks.
Bad.
I hate our
Bad.
HOA.
And we're going to impeach them and abolish them. You know, it's funny. I tried to infiltrate from within and become a member of the board of the HOA.
But they won't let you.
They won't let you unless you've had no infractions in the last year, and we left our garbage cans out overnight. So
you
now
can't
we have an infraction.
run for the HOA board if you've had an infraction in the last 12 months.
It's insanely dumb.
Yeah.
Insanely dumb. So we've gone back and forth and back and forth. So we've had chickens in this community for 6 years, and finally the HOA finds out. I think it's because we have a tattletale that lives close to us.
100% we have a tattletale.
Yeah. Karen. Okay,
how would the HOA know? It's behind a fence. How would the HOA know unless there's a tattletale?
So we went back and forth, and then we got reported, and they're like, you have to get rid of your chickens now. And then I was like, no, we don't. And I went and did some digging, and I have to thank my friends in the neighborhood because I jumped on the neighborhood groups. I jumped on the Utah Chickens groups, and there's a rally going on because many of us have been afflicted by stupid, arbitrary, bureaucratic rules. And I found a friend of mine, and she's like, you got to look up this city code because Linden City.
Shout out Linden.
Love you. Linden City is and will always be a farming community. Despite the growth and the bustling economics that have been growing, they said, we remember our roots. We want to stick to our roots. And so we're going to say that as a farm community, you are allowed to have livestock.
The law specifically says no HOAs.
And here's what it says.
CCNRs or neighborhood rules can overrule a Linden City resident's right to keep and own animals.
So when we found that, when we said, oh my gosh, screw your HOA rules, the city specifically says that its rights supersede the stupid bylaws, I mailed that off.
We sent an email back.
We
got an email from the HOA. I replied to the HOA and I was like, copy paste.
Yep.
Link to the code. Here is a screenshot of the code.
So then I started doing some digging, like, what are my other rights?
Right.
What else am I allowed to have? So we found this chart.
So I did the reply and I was like, first of all, okay, based on this city ordinance, we'll be keeping our chickens.
Yes. Period. End of story.
End of story.
So
it wasn't end of story.
Well, I want to not get on that part of the story.
Yeah.
I want to get on the other part of the story about the goats.
We still have our chickens.
We still have them.
We won that fight.
We bought more today, actually.
We literally did. We literally came home with more chickens today. So
we won that fight.
HOA.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, what else are our rights? How can we like stick it to them a little bit, right? So I look up the chart for what our acreage that we have and the number of livestock animals that we're allowed. I can buy a cow if I want to and have a cow.
The
on
HOA
our very
could do
urban,
nothing about it.
Nothing about it.
And we could have a cow.
they could have a cow.
They would have a cow.
So we could have a cow. We can have like up to 12 goats, I think. We can have, and now you have to balance it with the other animals that are on your land. Like
we can't
it's like a goat
quite
equals 3 chickens. You know, if you have a goat, you can't have as many chickens because you have to like take good care of the animals and
It'd be
have
cool
enough
if we
space
could have a
for 'em.
horse, but we don't have enough land to
It
have
wouldn't
a
be
horse.
good for the horse.
No, we
to
don't
be
have
on
enough
our
land.
Yeah. So I think according to the chart, I remember that we can have like up to 10 goats or something like that.
I thought it was 4.
It might be 4.
Yeah.
But more than we would want anyway. And the goal then even became more powerful of, okay, I got to get this goat.
Just to stick it to the HOA.
But what's beautiful is I have to get 2 because goats are social creatures and they're really
you
loud.
can't just get 1.
You have to have 2 so that they're not so obnoxious and lonely, right?
Yeah.
So the goal
Well,
was,
I mean, can you imagine living all by yourself?
it would suck.
That would suck.
Well, it'd be peaceful for a minute, but
For a
mostly it would
minute.
suck.
For a hot minute, it
Yeah.
would be kind of nice, and then you get lonely.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? But that's us as humans who are used to being around a lot of people.
yeah.
But a goat all by itself, that would be sad.
Well, any animal. There's
So no wonder they get so loud and obnoxious when they're by themselves.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
bored out of their
That's
minds.
why dogs bark too.
Yeah.
So
That's why we always have at least 2 dogs.
now we have
We
13
will
dogs.
oh my.
Currently have 13 dogs at our house. Most of them are little beans. Did you cross 2 pounds? I tell you.
Great. Wonderful.
Why are you so resistant to falling in love with these puppies? Here's my hypothesis, and you will never prove me wrong.
What?
You are afraid of falling in love with one of the dogs. You keep yourself at a distance. You haven't even held one of the puppies yet, and they're 2 weeks old.
I am not afraid of falling in love.
Yes, you are.
I am afraid of the kids falling in love and having an all-out battle to say no to keeping one of these puppies. It's not going to happen.
Oh, so why won't you even hold
Because
one?
I'm afraid of being the bad guy.
You,
I don't want the
You're
kids to think
manifesting
I'm the bad guy.
they think here's what they really think. You want to know what they really think?
They think I hate the puppies.
Yes.
I would rather the kids think that I hate the puppies than the kids think I hate them and saying
well, how
no.
would holding
they
a
can't
puppy
have-
make you think that the kids hate you? That's the opposite of the truth.
I've just been against the puppies. I've been against the puppies from the beginning
I know
because
you
I
have.
don't want to keep one.
We have said over and over, we're not keeping
I know.
one, but I'm asking for your hard anger heart to soften for a little bit and allow the kids the joy. If you held one of those puppies and you actually smiled.
You make me sound like such an asshole.
I'm telling you, it would be like, what's really sad about this is they're not able to share these moments with you because they're
Well,
not.
no, I go down there and I
No,
smile
you
with them
don't
and I
understand.
enjoy it.
They're not able to share the moment with you.
Oh.
They're able to have their moment in the same room as you, but they're not able to share this moment with you. But like just holding them and experiencing it doesn't mean we're going to keep one.
No, we're not going to keep
We've
one.
established that. So just hold one
Okay.
and watch their cute little eyes open and just see the
Okay.
cute little toe beans and experience it with them.
Toe beans. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the goat.
I want a pinky promise. It was so aggressive.
Back to the
Okay,
goat.
so back to the goat. So the deal was if we get to 10,000 followers on any of our platforms except for YouTube, because we've already well past that,
Yes.
that we get to get the goat. And I was like, hey, we're going to go live. We're going to go goat shopping together and get these. I already went to goat shopping online. I was like, okay, I know what kind of goat we want. And it's going to produce goat milk and goat cheese. And it'll be great and amazing. And then I did this whole experiment and I made a YouTube video about it. So you can go watch it on the channel if you want. But it bombed.
It was an epic failure.
Not delicately. It was a hard bomb. I lost dozens of followers on Instagram. And then toward the end, like day 27, 28, I started to get some back. So I made a net of 8 new followers on Instagram. And I checked my phone a minute ago, but it put us at
Currently, we are.
currently in this very moment, we have 3,493 followers. So
And I-
we
and
are
I
only
wanna-
at 30% of our goal.
I want to pause right there, okay?
Did I do the only thing?
No.
I did do the
well,
only
so
thing.
I want to pause right there because, like, okay, yes, we only have 3,200 followers on
34.
Instagram. 34, sorry. We only have 3,400 followers
Hold
on
on.
Instagram.
3493.
Almost 3,500 followers on Instagram. But we did 6 figures last year.
We did. Boom, baby. That was
So,
cool. I talked about that in the video.
Forget your stupid follower count. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. A lot of them are bots anyway. Maybe.
Maybe. We don't
Who
know.
knows?
We've never paid a bot farm for this account.
No, not for this account. I made that mistake on an old account and I
Yeah.
had to kill it.
We've never done that. So I think most of them are genuine, but
Oh, yeah, of course.
we've never done that. But just to don't let the follower count get you down. It doesn't matter.
Or the like count.
Or the like
or the
count,
view
or the
count.
view count.
Although
Doesn't matter.
I still sometimes get a little bit jelly when I see a stupid, when I see a grown ass man go to Home Depot,
I know exactly what you're talking about already.
buy 8 feet of PVC pipe, put it up to his wife's face and fart in it.
And then that gets way more
And then
views.
that gets millions of views. And here I am trying my best to produce content that's like actually helping people and helping them make money from stage and do the CTAs right and get their CRM set up. And that gets more traction than mine. I'm like, this is stupid.
I'm with you.
This is stupid.
I am with you. It is kind of stupid.
We are so much more suckers for cheap laughs than we are for valuable content.
It kind of talks about how sad our society is today.
Well, you know what, though? I kind of do the same thing. I share more videos with you that are funny than I do about business. And you know why? Because I don't trust most business content on Instagram. Unless it's from people that have a track record.
Yeah.
Like Alex Hormozy
I
or
trust
Gary Vee.
Hormozy's. Yeah, there's a couple few.
Yeah.
There's a couple few that I trust. The rest of it's like, oh, that's an interesting idea, but
I don't know you. Yeah.
It's an interesting idea.
Well, and here's the other thing is that everything, unless it comes from a trusted source, for me, it just seems bait and switch. It seems like more often than not.
Yeah, we're very distrusting as a society because so many people scam each other.
They do. We've been victims to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and people that we know have been victims to it, for the same scam that we fell for and for different scams. And gosh, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are just trying to make a quick buck. And you can do that with integrity and with honesty in your company. And then you're going to go from quick bucks to long-term bucks, and that's going to be great. But, you know, take for example, the craze of the crypto coin. Right? Big crypto coin, people make money, rug pull it, and then leave. It's just a micro example of everything that happens in the world of business that we see ourselves in.
Yeah. It even happened with the Hawktua girl.
Oh, yeah.
She did a meme coin and she rug pulled.
And it's not illegal yet.
Yes and no, right? There are a lot of people that say that she's going to jail, but who knows?
Did she do a Hawktua coin?
I don't know. I didn't look into it that much.
Why would you do a
I've just seen the
coin?
headlines
What's the
that
utility
said
of it?
that she did a meme coin and then she rug pulled. But you know what? In all reality, she probably got suckered into doing a meme coin by some other company.
Right?
And then she did it and then it got rug pulled and she had no idea what was going to happen. That's probably what really happened.
That's a good
But
chance.
who knows? I'm not trying to defend the Hawktua girl. Who knows? But
She's like my bestie. I'm going to get her back, you know?
yeah, right. So I got another question for you.
Oh, really?
From the audience, yes. So Dion, our
Dion.
newest member to the Mastery Hive, Dion said, "I don't know you very well, but I would love to know how you got started."
Started speaking.
I would assume that's what she means.
Yeah. Because we could go way back and be like, when mommy
Because
and
she
daddy
says
love each other very
she
much.
literally says, "I don't know you well enough, but would love to hear your story and how you got started."
Oh, are you going to answer this one too?
I'll add to it whatever I feel like you've missed.
Okay. Do.
Okay.
Okay, so I remember when I was at a seminar. I guess I could call myself a seminar junkie. That's fair. I was at a seminar and the speaker asked the audience, "What do you want to be?" And you only get one word. What do you want to be? And they weren't necessarily asking about what career do you want to have. And they said, what do you want to be? Like, what do you want to embody? What do we want to be known for? And again, not career, but you as a person. And I was sitting next to my sister-in-law and my brother and my husband at the time, and I think one other person. And three of us all wrote the same word on a piece of paper. We all had our notes out and wrote it. I feel like we're in some high school auditorium. I don't remember where we were. And we shared that word with each other. And the three of us that matched and had all the same word, we shared the word influential. Now, this was before influencer was a job title, long before that.
Okay.
And I think about that a lot because when I was 12, I first started getting on stage because Mrs. Wilson, who was my drama teacher and my English teacher, and dressed like you would for an English tea party. She was very sophisticated, and not like, like that tea, but not like frills, but more like tweed and refined and blouses, right?
Ah, the tweed.
The tweed. She was an elegant lady. If she's still around, I owe her a thank you. She also took me to Europe. She was one of the leaders that went to Europe with us. She put me or offered a competition spot in the Optimist Speech Club competition. I did not know what the Optimist Club was. Right now I know it's Optimist International. And the best thing I can compare it to is something like a Kiwanis Club or some kind of association thing. They're having a speech competition for kids. And I entered that competition, and it was optimism in my life was the topic. And I didn't know what to write about. And the only experience I had was church talks at the time. And since I grew up in Denver, I felt like I could kind of use my material that I would give in a church talk in an optimist talk because it was unique. It wasn't another pioneer story that you heard. It would probably be the only one. So I used my church material of my ancestors who came across the plains and the pioneer train based on something that they believed in. And they had to have this optimism to get across the plains because that was the only thing that was carrying them when their families and their animals and everything was dying. You know, if you're watching Yellowstone or 1923 like we are, it's the whole thing. Everyone's dying on their way across the plains. Well,
1883.
1887.
1883.
Pretty sure it's 87, but that's okay.
Our usual bet.
I think I already owe you from our last bet. Like 4, I'm good counting. I get excited. So anyway, I made this speech. I remember typing it up, double spacing it, making sure all my citations were good because I was, for my English teacher, had to look good for her, even though it wasn't for a grade. So I go to this Optimist speech contest, and I've got my friend Carrie that's competing with me. I've got my friend, oh gosh, I think her name was Liz. She was beautiful and tall. I remember her being really, really tall. A bunch of kids from my English class were in this thing. And I remember winning. And I took first place. And I was like, I beat Carrie, who's the popular girl and one of my really good friends at the time. And I beat this other tall, smart girl. And I was like, how did I do that? What the what? And I didn't know why I won. And that's going back to the beginning of our entire conversation is we learn more from failure than we do our wins. All I knew was that I won, but I didn't know what to do more of to continue winning because I didn't know why I won, right? So we get to the next round, and now it's regionals, and all the winners from all the local competitions are competing. Get up there, and we go to the same room over in Lakewood, on the border of Lakewood and Ridge, Colorado. And we sit in the Optimist speech room, and I compete again. I speak again, and I win again. I remember the first time sitting there in that chair and feeling this, it was almost like this voice in my head, like, you won this, you know you won this. And it wasn't ego. It was just like, you're going to get up there and you're going to win this. Before the judges announced, I knew I had won. And again, this small bit of frustration of not knowing why. Why? Because I can see what everybody else did, but I don't know if that lost them points or what. So now I'm going to state. And this competition's in Pueblo, Colorado, a bit of a drive. And it's the same week my sister's getting married in California. No, she's getting married in Utah. She lives in California now. I miss her wedding to go to this.
Wow.
And my other sister misses the wedding too, to go to this. To drive me to it, because my parents are going to the wedding.
Yeah.
So my older sister and me, we stay home, and we're probably, how old? She's 3 years older than me. So she was 17 and I was 14. It's just us. And she drives me to this competition, and then now it's state. Everyone from the regionals is going to state. And boy, now I started to see some speakers that could beat me, right? And that sounds egotistical. It's not meant to be. It's because I didn't know what I was doing that was winning, and now I could watch other people who also won, and I could spot things in them that made them win. I'm like, oh, she's winning because she's not using her paper. He won because he's so animated in his presentation. And I start to pick up all these things, and I'm hoping that I don't go first because I want to learn from the other competitors first. I remember watching one person get up there that had been using their notes as a crutch the whole time, and they forgot their speech.
Uh-oh.
And they admitted it over the microphone.
Ooh.
They're like, I'm sorry, I forgot my speech.
Nope. You don't win.
It was so sad.
Yeah.
It was so sad. My heart broke for them. And I get up there and I didn't win. I didn't win state. I think I took second or maybe third. I got a medal, but I can't remember if it's a participation medal or not. Anyway, I got a medal, and we're driving home. I'm a little sad that I didn't win, and that lingers for a while. But really what I'm more sad about is that I didn't get the feedback that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the feedback of why I lost. I never got the feedback of why I won. I didn't get the feedback from why that other girl took first place. She deserved it, by the way. She was amazing. Now I can tell why she won, but I didn't know back then. So as far as getting into speaking, that's really why it started, but I didn't keep doing that. I didn't know speaking could be a career. This was back when Tony Robbins was Anthony Robbins.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who he was.
No.
There were no traveling speakers, at least that I was aware of back in the day. There were evangelical preachers who would go around and preach in religion. That was the most widely populated form of speaking that there was. But the televised and broadcast coaches, not a thing. And boy, I wish I had kept going with this, because, I mean, it would have given me a couple decades head start. So then fast forward to my mid-20s.
Okay, we're going to pause.
Oh, why?
I have to pee so
Do you
bad.
have to pee? Oh, I can see you wiggling.
I have to pee so bad. So we're going to take a time out, and then
Should I keep
we'll come
going
back.
while you go?
No, because I want to hear the story too.
Oh, I'm going to keep going about something else.
You want to keep going about something else while
could.
I go to the bathroom?
Ask me a question that only I can answer, and I'll answer it while you're on.
I have no idea. I don't know. I have to pee so bad I can't think. Hang on. We'll be right back.
Do we need to play some music? No. You going to fill my water so I have... What are you... You're not going to pee in here. Oh, my gosh. No. Oh, no. You're going to miss, babe. Don't. Oh, I know we don't have a bathroom down here, but why? Oh, no. La, 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 la. What if you out-pee the jar? But what if you... Oh, gross. You have to... I can hear it. This reminds me of the time that I was driving. I was very single at the time, and I was driving in like just past Point of the Mountain, the Draper area, and I had to pee so bad I couldn't think, and I was off the road. I wasn't near a gas station. I'm keep talking because I don't want to hear your tinkle hit the jar, but I was driving and I was driving and I was driving, and it was like a Sunday, so nowhere was open, and I had to pee so bad. The best I could do is I had a shaker jar. 20 ounce, that's 20 ounces, 24 ounces, shaker jar in the back of my car. And I was like, this is it. I can't do this. So I pulled over in a Joann's parking lot. So the Joann's and Draper had the back parking lot that was like not facing the store front. It was like a back corner on the back side. Oh, stop. Why do you have to make it loud?
I'm not meaning to. It's just coming to the end.
So I pull out. I told you. Did you feel? Oh, I can see it. That's disgusting.
So much better.
That's so. You better take that out of here. I don't want that. It's on your desk, babe.
Look at how full that is. Do you see how full that jar is?
It is very full. And I'm happy that you're getting so hydrated because it's not as yellow as I thought it would be.
Oh my gosh.
That's disgusting.
I so much.
How was that all inside of you?
I told you I couldn't pee so bad. I couldn't think. I had to pee so bad. Look at how much pee that is.
I looked. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna tell how I outpeed my shaker jar. I got to the top of the shaker jar And I was like, I'm not anywhere near. Don't you dare put that in, Richard.
We have to keep it in here. I can't go upstairs.
But don't put it on the ground where you could kick it.
I'm not going to put it where
There's no good place for this.
No
Oh,
one's gonna
next to
take
the
it.
beverages.
And I'm going to put it behind this. so you
Yeah,
can
I don't
see
want to
it.
look at it.
There you go. Now you don't. Okay, tell me the rest of the story, and then I'll get back in the camera.
Well, you can come back in the camera now. I just outpeed my shaker jar because I got to like the 18-ounce mark, and I was like, there's more than what's going to fit in here left inside of me, and I don't know what to do because I don't see another jar anywhere. The shaker, like the bucked up shaker jars. So, and they hadn't made the really big ones by then, and I didn't have one. So here's what I did. My sister taught me to always, always, always have a car towel. A towel that is dedicated to the car for spills, incidentals, and stuff like that. So I Kegel the hardest Kegel I have ever Kegeled in the history of Kegeling to try and stop the flow long enough to put the towel between my legs to catch any lack of Kegeling. I had to open the trunk because I put down the seats and I was peeing in the trunk. I had to open the trunk and dump the bucked up thing in the parking lot and then close the trunk again and not pee my pants while I reset and refilled my shaker jar. And I ended up with a shaker jar and a half
Oh my
of
gosh.
pee.
That's probably about what that one was. We're back.
Oh my gosh. You have to leave that.
What, all of that?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I'm not leaving that in there.
You have to leave that in there.
Why?
Because that's the best part of the episode.
I'm not leaving that in there.
I will sabotage you so hard if you delete that.
Want me to leave that in?
Yes.
People don't want to hear that.
Yes, they do. It will be why it gets passed around.
Okay.
We said not
It's
to
your
ever.
podcast.
It is my podcast, damn it.
Okay. It's your podcast. Okay. Fast forward to your 20s.
Oh, and now we're shifting back.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to put it in second gear now that we're done with playing in reverse.
Fast forward to your 20s.
Okay, this is answering Dion's question. Okay, I started going to seminars in my 20s, was really impressed with the seminar speakers. And I was like, damn, there's something here. But here's the way I do seminars. Anytime I'm going to a seminar or to a online Zoom meeting or a workshop, I'm looking at it from two perspectives. Number one is, what can I learn? From the audience's perspective, from the content that's being shared and being taught. What can I learn there? And then from the second perspective, I'm saying, how are they doing what they're doing? What was the marketing that got me here? What was the sales pitch that got me here? If I upgraded to VIP, then why? And what did that get me? If I'm going live in person, I'm asking, okay, so where is the bullpen in the room, the sales table in the room? What kind of banners do they have out front? Where is the table on the stage? Are they drinking water on the stage? Are they drinking some kind of tea? Or do they have like markers? Do they have backup markers? Where's the pad of paper? How big is the pad of paper? Where do I get one of those pads of paper? Where all of the backstage stuff. Okay, I call it a backstage mindset. You got to figure out what's going on backstage if you want to reproduce this, because if you want to be an effective speaker, you not only have to orate well and give valuable audience, but the lead up to that, to filling the room, you got to figure out how to do that. I pay attention to how I got in rooms. The number one thing that gets me to rooms is personal invitation, right? So I'm studying all of this, and I study this and I study this. And I remember being at one of Kirk Duncan's seminars at 3 Key Elements. And I still got to have him on my show. Got to get someone who shall remain unnamed to actually send that introduction text message. And I went to Present Yourself, which was a sub-seminar that he did back in the day. So in this hotel room, there was probably, I don't know, like 30 people in the room. And it was a sub-seminar that was focused on speaking. And I remember watching one of the people get up on stage and present, and I felt this kick in my chest. It was like if someone had taken those gender reveal cannons, and
Confetti cannon.
Yeah, thank you. Confetti cannon and pointing it right on my chest. It was like boom. It felt like that. and the very distinct impression that said, you are supposed to do this.
Mm.
You're supposed to be up there. And at the time, I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. And all I have is a shitty marriage and a terrible financial situation. I was on welfare at the time and I'm pregnant. And what is even what? This was probably like 12, 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this, at that point, I only knew that I was supposed to do it, but I didn't know how. I just knew that I needed to. And something Kirk said, he said, I want you to start booking events on your calendar. You should always have 2 booked out from the current day. You should always have 2 future events. And he said, I want you to start inviting people to your living room and just speaking in your living room. You have a place where you live. That's your venue. Just do it. Just start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I first started and I invited people over and nobody came. 0 people came. But I delivered my keynote anyway because I figured I needed the practice. If I'm going to mess up, I didn't mess up in front of anybody. And I didn't want it to be my fault that my message didn't get out there. So then I did another one. 3 people came. My super supportive sister-in-law came. 1 other person came and my ex-husband was there. Most people fell asleep. Super boring. And then I did another one where I hijacked somebody else's story. I didn't know better. I was like, oh, that story is way better than mine. Let me tell that story. I told somebody else's story, way ineffective because it's not mine. And the event was super confusing and too many directions and all this stuff. But I kept doing it and I kept getting better and better and better at it. And I kept going and going and going. And then I was invited to teach a public speaking mentor building class for another mentor at the time. And I started teaching that. And once a week, we'd go in and we'd teach a stage facilitation. We would teach body language. We would teach tonality. We would teach. And that precipitated really cool results. I remember one person in particular did their first event. They made $19,000 on their first event. I was so stoked. And that precipitated other graduates who won awards at Toastmasters. And it precipitated other graduates who started their own speaking training business and manifesting business. Shout out to Kelly, and I'm friends with a lot of those people, and they have gone on to do some pretty darn incredible things. And then that program got packed up and it ended and it was over. And part of me was really happy because it was starting to peter out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But part of me was really sad because I loved doing it so much.
Mm.
I loved teaching so much. I loved the pressure cooker. I loved watching the light bulb go off in people's minds that they finally found their message and it resonates with their audience. And so when, last year, when we parted ways from our W-2s, I was like, I got to go back to that. That's what people keep asking. That's what I loved doing. It was such a blast. I've got to go back to speaking more. And I actually put people on stages more than I appear on stages myself nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And it is amazing to see their messages come forth. When we built the studio behind the studs on this wall, we have written in Sharpie, put people on 1 million stages and help them make $1 billion doing it. And it's amazing to see that progress. I mean, the upcoming event we're putting people on stage.
It's so cool.
And that's such a cool feeling because those are messages I can get behind.
Yeah.
I don't place people on stages if I can't get behind their message. I don't have to place everybody and I won't. If I don't believe in your message, there's no way I would want to promote it.
Yeah.
No way.
No.
So I only work with people whose messages I can promote.
Yeah.
And if I do that, you have my whole heart. So I'm going to refer you like crazy. So that's the answer to how did I get started.
Love it.
With the little side quest of a peace story.
Okay, we've been going for a little while, so I'm gonna ask you one more question.
Okay.
What do you think? Where do you think it's gonna be at episode 200?
Well, like what's going to be?
Where are we gonna be? Where's Mastery Hive? All of that. What's gonna happen? Maybe not 200 because we do this every 50 episodes.
Yeah.
So by 150.
Okay, so 50 episodes from now. Oh gosh. You know what I would really like to see? I would like to have one of the Hive members have made their first $10,000 from a stage and interview them.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That's one interview I want to have on the podcast, at least, at most 50 episodes from now, hopefully as soon as possible, right? Another thing I would really like to see is another household name as a guest on the show. But the reason for that, and there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that would get us more views, but that's not the point. The point is to have stories so powerful that I can change more lives at once. And a lot of people seek for fame for the wrong reasons. And I'm not even seeking fame. I'm seeking impact. People mistake those things all the time. They mistake fame and notoriety for impact. And they're not the same thing, but they share a lot of the same symptoms, right? Far-reaching and deep impact will cause virality. If you impact one person deeply, they will probably share what impacted them with the person that they care about, right? If you find something and it works for Richard so well, and you see someone with a similar problem, you're going to share that solution with them. And if you have that enough times, that's viral, right? That's what goes viral. And so virality is a measurement of impact. Impact is not a measurement of virality.
Mm-hmm.
So to seek fame is not the goal. To seek impact is really the goal. And in fact, I just had a measurement of impact today. I play this little game with myself of how much good can I do? And I measure that good by unsolicited text messages or notes that I get of some good that I did affected someone so much that they let me know that it influenced them. And I don't share these to, again, it's not for the building myself up. It's not for the publicity. It's just I call it a feather. I remember at the Bubba Gump restaurant when they had little feathers on the floor.
I don't remember that.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So they put feathers on the floor to tell you where the bathroom is, actually. So the feathers tell me that I'm on the right track, right? So anytime I get a message, it just tells me I'm on the right track. I'm doing some good. It's a feather for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a feather today from someone who said, and for his respect, I'll just leave them anonymous. But someone who said, hey, I don't know why it always seems, in fact, let me just read some of this because it's worth repeating and if you're listening to this, and this message has affected you positively, I encourage you to share it with someone, not because I need to share it, because they need you to share it with them. So if there's someone's name that's popping up for you because of something that's been shared today, either because it made you laugh or it left you feeling better than you did before, share it with them because they're probably praying for what you just got. That's why their name popped into your head. Okay. This text said, why is it every time I listen to an episode of your podcast, and not even the latest episode, but an episode that sounds good, that's exactly what I need to hear that exact day and that exact time? What an inspiration you are creating, inspiring content that uplifts and connects us and causes us to cause an idea that we would never been able to be exposed to otherwise.
That's an amazing text message.
Right?
I love that.
It makes me just want to cry because all of us as entrepreneurs, especially with content creators and podcast hosts, we wonder. We wonder sometimes if all of the effort and all the time we block off and all the time we miss with our kids and all the times we miss doing other things, is it doing any good?
Mm-hmm.
Because people are more quick to leave negative reviews than they are positive reviews. And they don't always leave the positive reviews. They just feel good. And that's great. And that's good. But as creators, it's really helpful to know and get that feedback that it's actually doing what we want it to do and doing some good in the world. So that to say that I would like to have a guest that
A high impact guest.
a high impact guest.
Yeah.
A high impact guest to have a high impact conversation that will impact more people at the same time. That's what I'm hoping for. Whether that guest is a household name or that conversation is just a high impact conversation. Because they're not the same thing. You and I both know household name people that we don't like or that we don't care about.
Yeah.
Right. But if there's a household name that's because this is one reason I like Simon Sinek, because it's not even that, and Jordan Peterson I would put in the same bucket, right? It's not even that their names are so affluent, you know. It's not that their brand is so cool. it's because of what they say and how they say it and how they make people think
Mm-hmm.
that drives the impact. And that is it's speaking of pages from people's books, right? I don't want to be Simon Sinek. I don't want to be Jordan Peterson. I want to be me.
Yeah.
The reason they are that where they are is because they are them. And that's a lesson all of us need to take. If there's anyone we admire them because they're a pure version of themselves. So we need to take the lesson of not be them, but be a pure version of me, so pure and so unadulterated with limiting beliefs and so willing just to be myself, which I struggle with sometimes. But when I'm in my purest form, I'm most valuable. Just like the elements on the periodic table, gold is most valuable when it's in its purest form. We as human beings get to share our greatest value when we are unadulterated by other people's thoughts or people pleasing or anything like that. And when we can do that, we can drive the most impact. And that's what I want. And the how can be different, but that's how I imagine it to look.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. It's been fun.
Any other questions that we can answer?
I checked a minute ago. I don't think so.
No PP questions? It always comes back to potty humor. My podcast with Tiffany, freaking love you, girl. That was a really good one too.
That was good.
I feel bad because I've had so many crazy, amazing conversations. It is hard to pick what stands out. Tiffany's was amazing. But we talked about poo-poo a lot.
We're good.
Poo-poo, pee-pee, caca. We change a lot of diapers, okay? It's just part of my world right now. I also clean up a lot of dog poop right now. There's a lot more we should clean up in the backyard.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to share?
No, I don't think so.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I've been putting you on stage a lot, and you're getting on stage more and more and more, and I'm very excited about it because I love listening to you talk. What's one message that you would want to leave with the world?
Oh, I
If
think
tomorrow you lost your ability to speak.
Yeah. I think it's just spend more time with your family. There will always be more things to do for your job or for your business. There's always more things to do. Just leave it for tomorrow and go spend time with your family. I've been trying really hard to do that a lot lately. So, yeah.
I love that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And in that, you get to have both.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We get to have a beautiful family and a successful business and a beautiful marriage and lots of great sex and all of these beautiful things that we want. We get to say yes to it all. We just have to understand how to make the music.
Yeah. Love it.
I love you.
Love you.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Marianne Hickman Show. We went left, right, upside down, backwards, and sideways.
All the different ways.
Hope you had a good time. We had a good time. Okay, I can't say that this episode is super kid friendly, so sorry we're warning you at the very end. Oh, we probably need to record an intro for this, huh?
We do.
Okay. Well, let me leave you with this. If there's been anything in this episode that has been great for you, let us know. Let us know so we can give you more of what has been great for you, whether it's a laugh or whether it's a deep, thought-provoking idea or whatever it is, whatever your gold nuggets are, let us know so that we can give you more of them. Our goal is to deliver the value that you need. The second thing is this. If there has been someone whose name has come to mind, let them know that you care about them by sending this episode. And if someone sent this episode to you, give them a thanks. It's because they care about you and they know you and they love you as a friend and a partner and a companion, and maybe they're inspired by you. Thank you for being here. We'll see you on the next episode.
Hey, what's up? Marianne Hickman here. Hey, listen, I hope you enjoyed that episode. We have some pretty amazing speakers on my podcast and, of course, more to come. If this is something that you enjoyed, guys, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. You guys know what to do. I love your comments, and I respond to every single one of them personally, not a bot or an agency. So if this is something you're enjoying, tell me about it. Tell me your gold nuggets. I want to hear from you. But here's the most important thing I want you to laser in on. I told you about the podcast database. You've probably seen me post about it all over social media. I want to make sure that you get it. So here's what I want you to do. Go to mariannehickman.com/database. Once you put all of your information in there, I'm going to send you the document. You request access to it. Boom, it's unlocked. Once you're in there, my rule of thumb is to apply to 10 podcasts a month. It's very digestible. It's very easy to do. And the database gets updated twice a week. So I want you constantly checking back in there for the next podcast that fits your audience. Thank you for being here. Much love to you, and we'll see you in the next episode.